Greetings and salutations, one and all. It's me, Robert Phoenix. We're back for another day of the Astro Weather. Got a bit of a late start today for a number of reasons. It's a chain of events, a chain of events which has had a number of unintended consequences, believe it or not. Maybe that's the tone for today, the chain of events day. So bear with me here as I do my best to get my bearings and reset some of these tabs that I had because I had to restart the computer. And let's see, we should be good to go. Yes. I know your morning is very, very stressful. Not yours, but Peaches the cat. Well, come up here. Let's go. Come on. Get your screen time. There she is. The one and only. Yeah, you're a little diva, aren't you? Peaches the diva cat. So I got this rug. And it's in the living room. Yes, I'm talking about you. I got this rug in the living room. It's a newer rug. We used to have this other rug. It's a type of fabric called jute, kind of like a rope. So it's like a rope rug. And I thought when I bought it, it was because I had a different idea for the living room in terms of what it looked like or what it could look like. It was going with a different theme, and the jute rug actually worked. But then I switched the theme. And I thought, okay, well, maybe this will work. And it kind of worked, but it didn't really work. So she was okay with it. But one day I decided to myself, I'm tired of this rug. I had a big Lebowski moment, a Jeff Lebowski moment, and I wanted a different rug. And I found this rug that it's actually really cool. It's a cool rug, and it really did pull the room together. I'm not kidding you. And so I got this rug. And I put it down, and it's there. And she won't even walk on the fucking rug. She walks around the rug. This rug has been down for about 2 months now, and she still won't walk on the rug. Jasper, on the other hand, luxuriates on the rug. But Peachy, for whatever reason, still she walks. So if she wants to get to another part of the living room, she'll actually walk around the rug. Maybe this is not uncommon for cats, but. Now listen, we're not playing a game here. All right, let's see who's here. Let's do a quick check-in, and then I'm going to jump into the weather. Oh, look who's here. DJ Pebblestone checking in at midnight. Her time. Probably getting home from her DJ shift. Speaking of DJ, there's DJ Michael Cisternino. Hey, you're both DJs. And one of you's a Virgo, and the other one's a Pisces. Wow. If you both weren't married, I'd play astrological, what do you call it, matchmaker. But unfortunately, you're on other sides of the coast. Pisces over here in California, Virgo over here in New York. You both have significant others, so I'm afraid your synergy will have to coexist in the realm of the virtual in the chat. Kabuki Theater is here. Hey, Bo, Julie Sunshine, 333. I'll tell you what's up, chicken ass when it's eating. There you go. There's a little colloquialism for you folks out there. Seeger comes right back in. What a foul joke. Yes, indeed. Jackie, I love saying this name. Jackie Delario. Scott Jerzyk, Robert, is your chief Wahoo hat available? My Cleveland base would use some luck. All right, Scott, I'm a word for you tomorrow. I did work the other day. I'll word for you tomorrow. I don't know, man. It's looking like a Dodger-Yankee series, and it's a ratings boon for baseball. You get the East Coast and the West Coast crowds. Anyway. I'll pull for your Indians, Scott. Jeff Rosen's here. What's going on, brother? Grand Rising, Nora Rashid, the Queen of Speed, coming off of a most excellent birthday weekend. Whitney Palm, what's going on? Whit, Mary Lee, there's a chill in the air, that's for sure. Let's see, Barbara Boots, Double B, checking in. Get a little more Seegerd. The Harris Waltz Epoch is a deleted scene from Inland Empire or Julian Donkey Boy, pure DV camcorder Gibscape. Yeah, we're going to get into the Kamala interview a bit on 15. So if you want to see a breakdown of that, come join us. Queen Lisa, she's here from Florida. Oh, there's Tom. Hi, Tom. Laura E., my man Ryan. Yes, come be a member of Locals. Support the show, both in spirit and in flesh. Joan S., the lovely and talented one, saving Austin one tooth at a time. Laura E., Janine, PMSO, Warlanda. I don't have my coffee this morning, Warlanda. I woke up late. I did not have my cup of brew. Man. I've been doing these breathe right strips, and they've been helping me sleep. So I actually sleep longer. I'm dreaming again. I'm going into REM sleep. Man, these little pieces of paper on my nose with their little wire, they've changed my life. Holy shit. Amazing. Although my dreams aren't always the most pleasant dreams. So there's that. Road Trip 1981, Darlene, Esperanza, Sunlight, Christina Jersic. Who else we got? Dave, Big Dave Salt misbehaving too. Neil Smith, Thor at the door, my man Steve. What's going on, brother? Moira and NYC Rainbows and Butterflies, Atlantis Rising, Kelly B, Healing Heart Rosie, Maya Rose. Let's get into the show. All right. So I had an unpopular opinion last night. I know some of you are gonna hate me for this. I came to the realization that Van Halen is overrated. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have good songs. I think the first record is a landmark in American rock. But I think as a band, they're kind of overrated. Eddie's great. His brother's great. Michael's great. David Lee Roth, great front man. But I'll state my case later at some other point in time. This is an immersion in Van Halen. Never a band that had so much do so little in some ways. That was the unpopular opinion. All right, here's the weather. We're still in it, the Grand Cross, but yesterday was Wednesday. Wednesday is Mercury's day, right? It's Mercury Day. So it's all about communication. And I found myself really pedal to the metal on Twitter for about 3 hours. I hadn't been on Twitter in over a week, and it was I was making up for lost time apparently. Today is Thursday. So what is today? Today is Mars. So I have my red shirt on today for the Mars effect. Are you ready? Are you strapped in? Are you ready to go to battle today? Oh. It'd be interesting to be in the skin of an Aries for about, I don't know, a week, just to see what that's like. It's normal for them. Normal. Life is one unending series of challenges, conflicts to be addressed and fought. The nature of Aries. I've shared this story before, but I was married to an Aries woman, And there was a lot of fires that needed to be put out on that end. And so when you're in a situation in your life and you have to deal with the immediacy of crises again and again and again and again, this is just me, right? What do? You compartmentalize, and you just kind of deal with it, right? I'll compartmentalize, I'll deal with it, and I'll get it done, and then I'll kind of move on, and then readjust my life and go live my life. And I had this moment a couple of years ago, and I was sitting down at the lovely and talented one house, and I had this grand epiphany that all these conflicts, they were all strung together. They're all like pearls on a string. Well, they weren't really pearls. And it was like, oh shit. I dealt with these things as individual situations, but zoomed out years later, it was like it was like the filming of Apocalypse Now. It was just one thing after another. So I guess you could say that I did have a front row seat when it comes to Aries. Well, we're still in it now, and today we have the this moon, right? This eclipsy moon. And yesterday on Twitter, this guy Matthew Metro comes out and talks about his relationship with Tim Waltz. Well, Tim Waltz was a teacher. We talked about this. We talked about it on Sunday night. And right now, this Mars factor or this Mars effect, speaking of Aries, that I went into on the Sunday night show is starting to kick in for Harris and Waltz. And there's different examples, right? Or different expressions of this. So in the case of Waltz, he's a 17-degree Aries. And he also has Jupiter over here, I think around 24. So when that moon was I think it was around 16 yesterday when that news broke, it was literally on Waltz's sun. And so this kind of semi-eclipsy thing, right, is also conjunct his sun, a little bit wide on the other side, but still nonetheless, it's in eclipse territory, and it's conjunct his Jupiter. So this thing comes out. Remember, the moon is the past. So this guy's talking about his past and Waltz's past, and he was 17 years old, and he's very graphic about what Tim Waltz did to him. And so far, nobody on the alternative media side, really on the alternative media side or the mainstream media side, has really, taken a, carving knife into this story. And I don't think the mainstream media will have anything to do with it. And if they do, then they are going to come after this guy. Right. So this is what happened in Tim Waltz's life yesterday. In Harris's life, of course, she had the interview with Brett Baer, which I'm going to go over and sort of go through over on 15. And it's Mars, right? Mars is coming in, clicking in. Her sun is at 26 degrees. So that Mars is squaring her sun. Now, it's also squaring her moon. The effect of that square to the sun and the moon in Harris's chart brought out the anger in her. And you can see that towards the end of the interview. And you could view that one of two ways. One, either Brett Baer kind of got to her and she was losing her cool, which I think she was. And number two, you could say that she was righteously indignant, and she was passionately bringing forth her argument why she's better than Donald Trump. Everything about Harris is Trump, 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 Trump. All the ills of the country are based on put on the shoulders of Trump. And I love the commentary. Like for the last decade, Trump was only president for 4 years. You had 4 years of Biden and 4 years of Trump. And so you throw in half a term of Obama, if you want to call it a straight decade. And again, I'm not here to, wave the MAGA flag, but do the math on it. And she kind of steamrolled Brett Baer, who was like, Madam Vice President. Like, I'm sorry, that title's too good for this woman. And anyway, more on 15. So this is the energy. It's kind of the roll up the sleeves and fight energy. And remember that Mars-Pluto opposition is coming. I tend to think that that's related big picture wise to the U.S. getting deeper and deeper into a quagmire in the Middle East. The Middle East threatens to be our new Vietnam. There are more troops now starting to arrive in the Middle East theater. Not good. Not only that, but again, as we move towards this election, it's not just the middle. I mean, there can be serious violence erupting in this country, and some of it will be agent provocatorial, or it will be instigated. Like this Mars-Pluto opposition is serious, just in terms of the potential import here. And Mars is in Leo on election night, but it retrogrades and it comes back into this opposition. If you're a kid and you played in fireworks, and especially the ones that blew up, if you had a short fuse on something, you had to be really, really nimble and quick, because if you lit the thing, you'd have a lot of time to get rid of it or get away from it. This is the short fuse territory right here. We are entering into short fuse territory. And by the way, that starts to spill over into our lives as well. Now, we still have this wonderful grand trine with Venus and Neptune and Mars, but now Venus is getting ready to move into Sagittarius. So a lot of the kind of the uncovering and the muck, right? Like we can kind of go back over the last Venus cycle and track it with a lot of the Diddy stuff, which is very Scorpionic and just gross. And he's a Scorpio. So we could go back and track some of that with this Venus cycle. Venus in Sagittarius is very different. And it's more about truth and authenticity in relationship. And it's going to be very interesting in terms of, especially as Mars, we're going to have this. Venus might be just slightly ahead of Mars here, but there will be a bit of a wide, this trine is going to continue, right? I think Venus will probably be about halfway through the Venus cycle as Mars goes into Leo. So it's not going to be completely synced up in a trine. But at a certain point, both Mars and Venus will be in fire signs, which means that how we relate and how we act are going to be much more immediate, and I would say less patient. There's a degree of patience here with Venus and Neptune and Mars all in water signs. And just in terms of interactions that I've had with people over the last, 72 hours, a lot of it tends to be much more tempered. Well, unless you're on Twitter, but a lot more tempered and kind of holding space, not because you have to, it's kind of a natural, right? There's like two versions of holding space. One is a conscious version of holding space. Like I'm going to hold space for this person or myself so that the interaction and the moment doesn't like blow up into a million pieces. It's sort of like, sort of being a parent while your kid is losing their shit over something, right? And then there's the holding space. It's just natural. Like you just do it because it's the thing to do and it just feels right. And we've been kind of in that zone for the last couple of weeks with this Venus, Mars, Neptune trine. It's been easier, right? But when Venus leaves Scorpio and moves into Sagittarius and Mars ultimately transits into Leo, that is over. It's over. Even though that theoretically they'd be in a sympathetic relationship with one another, elementally, there's less patience. So soak it up while you can, because we're entering into, again, this period. What are we now? 17. So it's 13. We're 18 days, just a little over 2 weeks away from the election. And buckle up, right? And you can see that Harris is desperate because she's going over to Fox. And basically, I think that the strategy there wasn't so much that she's behind and she needs these votes. I think the strategy there is that she wanted to use that situation to show that she was strong and that she could punch back, right? And to some degree, I actually think she was effective. I'll share more of that later. All right, so this is kind of the bit. We're still in that pattern yesterday, but again, we'll throw in the eclipse and the moon in Aries. Here's where I'm gonna go with that. I use the analogy of a short fuse, and that was Venus and Mars. We're in short fuse territory today with this moon in Aries. Again, the semi eclipse. People are definitely on edge. If I could cue up a song, it would be "No More Mr. Nice Guy" by Alice Cooper. That's what I would cue up. And I'll tell you what it is good for. You got some shit to do around your house. You got some projects or things to fix. That Moon Chiron conjunction, especially in Aries, squaring Mars. In fact, there may even be some kind of immediacy for you to get some stuff fixed. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. The downside is, since it's eclipse energy, it'll be revealed. Something, oh shit, we got to deal with this now. Okay. All right. And sometimes you don't know until it happens. You just don't know until it happens. Mercury's moving stronger into this trine with Saturn. Now, we had this Venus cycle in Scorpio, which is almost over. Now we got the Mercury cycle in Scorpio. Now we're really digging. Venus and Scorpio, we're looking at the relationship between what I would call normalcy and taboo. Scorpio represents taboo. It's the underworld. It's going places and doing things that other people might find highly objectionable, right? That's the nature of Scorpio. It takes you literally into the underworld, right? So Venus has been gently guiding us. It's been interesting, right? Watching this whole thing with Diddy and a lot of this really creepy sex stuff and the Bieber material. So it's come out in a way where I wouldn't say it's like normalizing it, but it's coming out in a way that people are able to assimilate it in some ways. Now, here comes Mercury in Scorpio. Now the really deep dig starts to happen. And the trine with Saturn over the next 7 to 8 days, maybe we'll throw out 10 as Mercury separates. So as it applies to you, Mercury-Saturn trines are tremendous for focus. Absolutely tremendous. So don't sleep on being focused and tunnel visioning what you need to do, right? And it's also really good for problem solving. So if you have problems that have been lingering, right, this is a time where you can really get away from a lot of the distractions and just focus in on what you need to do. And as they say, get her done. Jupiter trine, the Mars-Jupiter trine is still in effect. So we're still in kind of an expansive space, even though Jupiter is retrograde. So we're looking backwards, right? We're kind of looking backwards with Jupiter. And I had a great looking backwards moment yesterday. I was on YouTube, and I found this amazing piece of music, and this guy had translated the Immigrant Song into Norse, Old Norse, the immigrant song by Led Zeppelin in Old Norse. And then he figured out how to pronounce the words and sing it. And then they redid the immigrant song in kind of like this kind of, Viking kind of attack dirge. I mean, it's really so fucking cool. And that thing has been on the internet for 2 years. I can't believe I've never seen it or heard it before. That's Jupiter retrograde, literally taking us back in time and kind of rediscovering things. And it's, with the sun in Libra, it's quite good for things like art and aesthetics. So this has been a very aesthetic season for me. So I'm going through this, it's like this weird stylist phase. So now I'm helping Russ. I'm reshaping Russ Winter, of course, with his permission. And by the time Russ comes onto the show next time, Russ is gonna have a new look. Inspired, by the way, by one of our listeners who created some really cool graphics for Russ's spot on the Friday forecast, which I'm going to debut when Russ is on there. And it's like, wow, look at these graphics. They're so cool. And so I showed them to Russ and he's like, is that me? I mean, yeah, man, it's like you with, some facial hair and a bit of a different haircut. So anyway, the new Russ Winter coming to a Friday forecast near you. Oh, you're back again. We'll miss high maintenance. All right, let's get into the Bruce Banner. Let's see what we got here. Okay. You know what I should do? I should show you guys. Let's do this. Let me see if I would do it. So I'm going to play a little video here. Now of you. You don't get the video. You have your own video one of these days. So this is a video of Dr. Jones' cat. And he is really into the pet sounds. And pet sounds is one of the products you can get on True Hemp Science. No, I don't want it there. Hold on. And I want to show you just how much her cat loves this pet sound. So if your cat has arthritis or, anything that's going to impact its overall condition, skin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, come on. Why don't you do this? Shit. If I can StreamYard, pardon my language. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. I doubt if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Because usually StreamYard is just, it's a video. Yeah, I'll do the video file share. Okay, that's it. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. All right, here we go. So this is Jones' cat, Madhu. Look at him. He just goes right in there. He loves that CBD. He loves that pet sounds right off of the dropper. Look at him. He loves it so much. So this is a formulation specifically for your animals. He's into it. Look at him. Give me some more. Yeah. So Madhu is the best cat. He's a totally good guy. Here, we stop this. Okay, we get out of there. Right there. So all you got to do is go into truehempscience.com and you spend $100 or more. You type in 15MINS, you get a little goodie bag. Get your goodie bag, and you get your dose or whatever Chris puts in the order, and you get an order on top of your order, which is great, right? And nice little value there. And if you say, hey, I'm from Chattaria, you might get a little bit extra because there's a soft spot in this heart for Chattaria. So $150 more gets you free shipping, and there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's truehempscience.com. All right, let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. And it was kind of a tough day in some ways to figure out who we were going to highlight. It was either Montgomery, Clift, or the city of Eugene, Oregon. And I went with Montgomery, Clift for a number of reasons. One of which, as you'll see, is a very surprising one. If you don't know the story of Montgomery Clift, he was a very popular actor in the 1950s. And he was kind of in this vein of sort of the young, rebellious new Hollywood, right? Like Monty was new Hollywood. That's what they called him, new Hollywood. And let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. So you can see, right? He's kind of like what's funny is that both he and James Dean are kind of from the Midwest. James Dean is from Indiana, and Montgomery Clift is from Nebraska. Also, I think Marlon Brando was from either Nebraska or Missouri. A lot of these people who became Hollywood stars actually start in the Midwest or the Mideast, and then they migrate to Hollywood. This is the story of Montgomery Clift. And probably his most famous role is with John Wayne in The Searchers, which is a Western. It's a father-son movie, and it's actually quite good. I think it's one of John Wayne's more kind of nuanced and what's the word I'm looking for? There's some depth to it, right? It's not just a shoot 'em up. It's not just cowboys and Indians. It's actually a really good movie. Then there's also his pairing with Elizabeth Taylor. I think was it in American Velvet. He and Elizabeth Taylor became very, very close. Of course, she's in Hollywood at that time as well. So Montgomery Clift was becoming this heartthrob, and also known as a very good actor. The problem with Montgomery Clift is his sex. And when I say sex, I'm not talking about his sex life. I'm talking about his sexual organs. There are two people in Hollywood who are known to be hermaphrodites. Jamie Lee Curtis is one of them. And apparently at birth, they decided to choose what sex Jamie Lee Curtis was going to be. Montgomery Clift was the other. And unlike Jamie Lee Curtis, who it was pretty clear that if they were going to choose, it was going to be the female version because, well, she was a chromosomally, I believe, a female. And so she had the right equipment for the right biology that would emerge. On Montgomery Clift's side, that equation, that math didn't work out. And so he remained hermaphrodite. If you read his bio, even on Astro.com, the description is that he's sexually ambivalent. Well, that's a nice way of saying that he was a hermaphrodite. And he had a very, very difficult time dealing with this because, I mean, he was a very good looking guy, right? High cheekbones. And he was in love with Elizabeth Taylor and vice versa. And there are other women who thought, this guy is, he's a dreamboat, right? He's really handsome, but he can't quite take advantage of it because he's not a man and he's not a woman. He's both. And it winds up driving him to serious alcohol use and also pills. I believe he used to take some version of Darvon, and he eventually just drinks himself to death because he's inconsolable, and he can't have a normal life, right? And it's really weird. Like, if Montgomery Clift was around today, he'd probably be some kind of celebrity. Like, he'd be celebrated. I mean, talk about equity. So I was really interested in, like, can we find the hermaphroditic signature in Montgomery Clift's chart? So I spent time looking at it. And there are some interesting things here. So remember, the word hermaphrodite comes from the union of Hermes and Aphrodite. And Hermes is this, weird sort of trickster, very fluid, right? The messenger of the gods, and Aphrodite is beautiful. And Hermes uses his incantations and magical words to seduce Aphrodite. So they have this child. So you have Hermes and Aphrodite, hermaphrodite. So I'm looking at, okay, so where is this in Clift's chart? Okay, so I started down here, and he's got a Mercury, Venus, Mercury being Hermes, and Venus being Aphrodite. I'm like, oh, well, they're conjunct. Isn't that interesting? Well, a lot of people have conjunctions of Mercury and Venus. Does that mean they're hermaphrodites? Not really. No. It's a very, very small portion of society, although it might be a bit more than people might know, but still a very small portion. Okay, so then we have Juno kind of in between the two. Oh, that's interesting. Juno, fertility, newness, right? It's like, it's the biology here between the two as represented by the astrology. We could call this astrobiology. It's kind of sorting things out, right? But what does Neptune do? Neptune comes in and at a square, and it brings confusion. It brings confusion between the two of these. Okay, well, we might be able to make a bit of a case here. Also, it's in the third house, which is Gemini, which is one and the other. Again, we're kind of in this interesting, remember, this is Hermes' house. Right there. It's Hermes' house, the third house. Now, if we go to Aphrodite's house, well, that's over here. And that's the seventh house. And what does he have there? He's got Uranus, which is unusual. It's different. He's not going to have typical relationships with people. He can't because of how he's built, right? So, oh, that's interesting. So we have Uranus conjunct the house of Aphrodite, and then we have Mercury and Venus, Hermes and Aphrodite in the house of Hermes. Oh, interesting. What else do we have here? And by the way, that's retrograde. We have Chiron and Aries. Aries is the masculine principle, and Chiron is the wounded male. Eighth house in Scorpio, we're dealing with sex and biology. What's it doing? Squaring Pluto and squaring his Mars-Moon conjunction. Look at Mars-Moon. Mars is the male, the masculine principle. The moon is the feminine principle. And again, we have this commingling of the two. And here we're talking about 4 degrees difference. And what's it doing? Squaring Chiron, the wounded male in the 8th house. All right. Well, that's interesting. That's something. Well, Mercury rules 2 signs, Virgo and Gemini. So he's a Virgo rising. Okay. Well, a lot of people are Virgo risings. And over here we have Jupiter in Virgo. Oh, interesting. And then we have Saturn in Virgo. And what's Jupiter doing? It's opposing Uranus, which is the unusual, disruptive element that wants to ingress into the house of Aphrodite, but it's retrograding. Saturn is squaring the moon and Mars. So Monty has a difficult time with authority, but that's understandable. He also suffers from depression. Moon Saturn squares can result in a very depressive outlook towards life. Saturn puts the gloom on the moon. Okay, so I'm thinking, all right, well, we're getting closer here. What else is in the chart? Oh, look at the midheaven. 29 degrees, the anaretic degree of Taurus and Gemini. Taurus is ruled by what planet? Venus. Venus is what? Aphrodite. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Oh, really? What is Mercury? Hermes. Hermes, Aphrodite. Hermes, Aphrodite. 29 degrees anaretic. Now the receipts are coming in. So I needed to just verify, well, maybe there's something within the Sabian symbols that can confirm exactly what I'm talking about here with Montgomery Clift. And lo and behold, the heavens parted. This is probably the strangest and most synchronistic evidence that I've run across with the Sabian symbols as it relates to one person. Now, remember, there are a lot of people who have their sun at 20, he's 23 plus Libra, so we read it for 24. There are a lot of people that have this Sabian symbol, but not all of them have the things that I just talked about. When you look at them in their kind of particular influence in the chart. Check this out. Phase 204, Libra 24, a butterfly with a third wing on its left side. The ability to develop for inner strengthening new modes of response to basic life situations. The butterfly is the ancient and traditional symbol of the results of the processes of spiritual rebirth. If the butterfly has 3 wings instead of 2, a special development of an aspect of the spiritual life is shown. Now, I guarantee you, if you were born a hermaphrodite in an ancient culture, you were deified. You were deified if you were both. Why? Because it's incredibly rare, right? It's a very rare sexual assignment. And then if you look at the archetypal deification of the hermaphrodite, it's Baphomet. Baphomet is both male and female, right? So essentially what Rudyard is saying here is like, this mutation is not only a physical mutation, but it somehow represents a spiritual mutation. But in the case of Montgomery Clift in Hollywood in 1950s, it's not really going to be translated in that way. He's a screen idol, and you can't really have screen idols wallowing in the pathos of their intersectionality. 3 is a symbol of fulfillment. Some power has been added to the normal spiritual life of the individual person. The left side usually refers to the instinctual field of consciousness, but it is also the heart side. A new strength is shown, perhaps as yet unrealized. So the left side is also the feminine side. A 4th stage symbol usually refers to some kind of technique or technical achievement. What is implied here is that the contact with the revivifying life force of the 1st stage symbol that goes all the way back to Libra 1 can result in an appearance of a new faculty, the use of which may not as yet be consciously evaluated. Indeed, it is the establishment of such a contact which constitutes a technique for original mutation. This is what Montgomery Clift is. He is a mutant. He'd be perfect in the X-Men. But it's not like it made his life easier. If any, like, he might have been a strange fetish. And who knows what went on behind the scenes. who knows what some of these movie producers, and they did have casting couches. And when they discovered that he was a hermaphrodite, he could have been, the life of the party, but not the party that he wanted to go to. You know what I mean? So he was tortured. He was tortured, and ultimately he just drank himself and pill popped himself out of existence. The Clash memorialized Montgomery Clift with their song Montgomery Clift, and it talks about his self-destructive ways. So this was a really interesting star of the day, because all of these things added up in some weird way to the thing that we're looking at, right? The Mercury-Venus conjunction, Hermes, Aphrodite, third house, Gemini's house, and Juno, something new, right? Juno represents the birth of something new, and it's right there. It's in that that midpoint, almost mediating the relation. It's almost like, Juno is about sex. Juno is about fertility, and it's right there, right? It's like the astrological sexual act between Mercury and Venus. I mean, literally, it's right there. Hermes, Aphrodite. There's Juno, third house. And then Neptune messes it all up. It gets blurry. And Uranus, he's never going to have a normal relationship, right? And then we get into the intersection between, again, Hermes and Aphrodite, Venus and Mercury, 29, anoretic. And even with Virgo, Jupiter and Saturn, the Jupiter opposing, the whole thing is crazy. Crazy. So this is one of the most interesting stars of the day that I've done. It just took me a little bit of digging to unearth this and connect the dots. Now, would I have been able to do that, not knowing that Montgomery Clift was a hermaphrodite? I would have been able to look at this and say that this person was highly unusual. And I would have ultimately been over the target. Would I have been able to zoom in and laser sight this thing? There's not many hermaphrodites in the world. So there you go, the True Hemp Science star of the day, Montgomery Clift. All right, what do you guys have to say about that? Let's see some comments here. Get down to the bottom. Let's see. Lydia Lou loves the astrological explanation. Dude, I got Professor Chandra Wicker my show at noon EST. I don't know. Ask the professor about hermaphroditism. Have a good show, Ra. Let's see. It's Thor's mom's birthday. Man, that woman has a lot of endurance. A lot of endurance. 88. She's going through the Pluto opposition. I'd say expect another 10 years, Steve. Expect another 10 years. Look at that. So blessed to have her helping Hattie at 88. We'll be having that conversation at 78 or 98. Yeah, let's do a little birthday song for Steve's mom. We'll do a little birthday song for Steve's mom. Here we go. I'm dialing up a special happy birthday song for Steve's mom. Let's see, what do we have here? Let's see, what do we have? All right, so this is not going to be a video. It's just going to be a song. Just a song. That's all we got. Just a song. It's going to be an old school song. This is for Steve's mom, and I think we're going to go with Smiley Monroe. This is Smiley Monroe. So this is for Steve's mom, right here. Little Smiley Monroe as we round off the show, right here. Smiley Monroe, Steve. This is for your mama. Here we go. A little old school. Let me get my things in here. This is Bernadette Carroll. I did not want Bernadette Carroll. I wanted Smiley Monroe. That's what I wanted right there. Bernadette Carroll seemed like a nice person. But Smiley Monroe, apparently it's rockabilly. I've never heard this before. So this is my first experience. This is for Mama Thor. Here we go. Right here.
Well, yes, we know today's your birthday, and we're happy just for you. We hope that you will have 100. Hey, happy birthday's just for you. When you blow out the candles, let every wish you wish come true. You know that we'll always love you. Happy birthday's just for you. Well, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday just to you. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my darling, happy birthday just for you. When you open up your presents, the cards tell of our love for you. The ribbons bind it all together. Hey, happy birthday just for you. Yeah, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday just for you. Birthday just for you, birthday just for you, birthday just for you.
Love it. The great Smiley Monroe. And a happy birthday to Mama Thor. All right, we're out of here. Come join us over on 15. We're on Rumble. We're on Boxcast. Links are in the show description. And hope to see you there. And if not, you can always catch it on the backside with the recording of the show. Take care. Be kind to each other. Use your head in order to serve your heart to save what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. God bless and bye for now.